Choujin X Chapter 49 Part 2. Now, off the rip, we need that Sato volume cover because this chapter right here, this chapter, even though it was a bit of a transitional chapter, it wasn't so action-packed, it wasn't any of that, I really enjoyed it. I really did, because it set up that little, like, what's going to happen next, even in its happy moments. Now, I'm going to break this up in two sections because really that's what we got this chapter. We got the Sato and Tokio conversation as well as Ellie's birthday party, right? And the strange thing is, I got the inverse emotion from each of these two situations, meaning that when we got the conversation between Tokio and Sato, I became excited because I began to see Sato in a different light, right? But when we get to the birthday party, for whatever reason, that last panel, it just seems so dark, ominous. It kind of made me sad, like, yo, her wish will come true and it's not going to be good. And I guess we'll start there with Ellie's birthday because it's pretty short, right? And not only that, it gives you the timeline of where we are currently in the manga, which is July 31st, meaning when the sun goes down in the Choujin X universe, it is August. And that means we are going to be throwing hands with Zora and or the world is going to end. I don't even know. But in August, it will pop off. Plus, we are getting weekly releases in real life. So my guess is we're going to get built up into a cliffhanger or something like that. And maybe Sui Ishida decides to take a breather, which I wouldn't even mind. Whatever he decides to do, I'm down for. But when we get into Ellie's birthday wish, right? That straight black panel of her blowing out the candles, it just looks like the saddest thing because in my mind, I'm thinking she's wishing to be the one to protect Tokyo. She's wishing to be the one to keep her friends alive. She is essentially asking to sacrifice herself. That's what I'm getting at because I was just rereading the chapter where they were all kidnapped and Zora showed them the future, right? Ellie went out of her way to basically throw hands with Zora because she feared the 50-50 chances of Tokyo either dying or being able to inherit the power. Plus, on top of that, Ellie is someone who hates people who just go out and murder, and Zora pretty much admitted, like, yes, I killed thousands of human beings, regular human beings, as well as Choujins in hopes to find the savior of Yamato. Not only that, Ellie knows that Tokyo has been struggling lately with this decision. Do I believe in the prophecy? Do I continue on this path and help Yamato Mori in the aid of destroying the opium field? But now we're at the point where it's too late. The decision has been made, and now we are just going to deal with the consequences. Not only that, man, my red flag signs are going up because we cannot just have a birthday party. We cannot just have nice things. You know, Palma is asking to join Yamato Mori. Nude is giving some comic relief, as well as Simon, who's usually a stickler. You know, he's out here trying to do his best to throw Ellie this surprise party, right? It all just feels like the quiet before the storm. Now, personally, my favorite thing about this whole chapter was Sato. I think he is this chapter's MVP, and I think, for me, at least personally, he gave me a little bit more insight of what his character is. And what I think that is more of the enforcer, you know, the dirty work of Yamato. I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's on the other side of the tower. I do think he has some questionable ideologies. I think he's like a, you know, like a Choujin Nazi, kind of. He might be a Choujin Nazi, not necessarily like I'm going to enslave the whole world, but he might think of Choujin as the superior race, or at the very least, like the guiding force of mankind. And remember, we've had earlier dialogue from Sato where he states that Choujin shouldn't operate under the same ethics as the common citizen because they are not common by nature. Choujin are the outliers, the pathfinders, right? And this was all due to the questioning of the ethics of Nude's revival. Sato views this as a necessary evil, while Tokyo questions whether or not Nude could ever truly be happy living his life as a zombie. Now, in today's chapter, we have Sato pretty much manipulating or trying to convince Tokyo to take Zora's beast mark. And this comes when Tokyo explains to Sato that he is struggling with the idea of fighting being the only means to a solution. We know Tokyo wishes to find a way to open communications between the tower and Yamato Mori. However, it seems impossible to convince either side. We've had Master Model shut him down, and now most recently Cabral as well. Now, at this point, Sato is trying to convince Tokio that words themselves hold no power. It is the force behind them that influences people, which pretty much mirrors Queen's belief about God, as he claims that God has done nothing for humanity aside from installing fear. We are not better people because we believe in God. We are simply just afraid of God's wrath and the constant threat of hell. However, I do believe Sato's character is a bit more nuanced, and it isn't 100% black or white, Tower or Yamato Mori. There's a lot of gray area with him. So although he may share some ideologies with the likes of Batista, being that social norms are crippling towards advancement, as well as Queen's Choujin supremacy, he also has key points that oppose them, such as working for the interest of Yamato Mori, and Sato is also a believer in God. In fact, he may be one to believe that Choujin are God's chosen ones. Now, as far as the beast mark is concerned, like I said, I think Sato's main interest is to have Tokio take the power, but for the benefit of Yamato Mori. I don't believe there's any personal interest between Sato and Zora. Her power to him is strictly a weapon for Yamato, as opposed to Batista, where he views Zora's power as a prize that shouldn't be wasted by her death. Batista also wishes that Zora remains active in order for his own personal freedom. Another thing I liked about this Sato-Tokio conversation was Sato's response to Tokio's rebuttal. Now, although Tokio began this chapter in the dumps binge-watching Western movies, we see that he still holds that optimistic attitude as he tells Sato that he will use the ability that he has in order to find a way to rally both his enemies and his allies, while even quoting Sandek. Now, this both frustrates and surprises Sato as he figures that Sandek's influence was strong, making reference to a baby chick imprinting. Now, like I said, I don't believe that this has any indications of things being shady with Sato. I just think this is an example of the two sides of Yamato Mori. We have the baby face in Sandek and the underbelly of Sato. And I think that honestly, Mato approves of both philosophies. I think she knows that we have to do some dirty work sometimes, as well as kiss babies and be non-threatening to regular society, right? And if I had to guess, I think in the future, we will see a background story of Sato being a lot like Tokio, right? So maybe there's a story where he's trying to prevent Tokio from being crushed by the realities of the world. But all in all, man, I really did enjoy this chapter. Like, I think it was, like 15 pages, but it was like, I don't know, man. Only two things happened, but I had a lot to say about it, and I really appreciated that. And it was a transitional chapter. It wasn't like we got an info dump. We didn't get no lore. We didn't get nothing like that, no fights. It was nice. It was a nice, simple, easy chapter, but packed with information. And it's just because, man, you know, he's cooking. That's all I can say. But once again, see y'all. And I think we will get it Monday because it was a holiday this past Monday. So I'll see y'all next week. Thank y'all. Peace.